You actually could check him out tonight at 8 o'clock on All Lacrosse all the time. He's matter of fact, I saw him rocking this awesome Toronto Rock, jacket. That thing was fire. But anyway, if there's anybody that knows the NLL, knows lacrosse, period, and he's the right guy, guys. Check out All Lacrosse all the time. You can check him out here. That is my man Gary Groob. My man knows. Like I said, you guys want to listen to him talk lacrosse. This is the guy to go to. He knows lacrosse like he knows. That's his Bible. So let's go bring him on.
Hey, back. Good morning.
Good morning, Gary. What's going on, buddy?
It's somebody had to explain to me what that orange thing in the sky was. It's been so long since I've seen it. It was the sun.
All right. Hey, listen. With Toronto, Philly, we've been getting nothing but snowstorms here. But you know what, Gary? This Philadelphia Wings team, and I got to talk to you for the past month or so. They haven't. They came out red hot, but they look like they hit a wall for a little bit. Now I think they hit a boiling point where this team was just looking horrible against that Albany Firewoods team. They didn't really get anything going until the second half of the game. They only recorded 2 goals. And I wonder now, with all the trades that they made, I wonder if this forced Uncle Paulie to make some moves, because he made some trades, and I wanted to pick your brain. What do you think, first of all, what's happened to this Union team, or Wings team, rather?
Well, they came out, like you said, on fire, and they played great together. It looked like they had solved a number of the issues, but the defensive thing and the transition thing never really got sorted. So they would outscore a team, but they weren't stopping many, and they were giving up a hell of a lot of shots. And eventually, the book will be out on where to fire on Damewood, and they found it. And once they started getting up on the hands of guys like Ressa Terrence and on Mitch Jones and on Katoni, all of a sudden, they weren't scoring either. So if you're not going to outscore your opponents and you're still giving up goals, well, you see the result. It becomes big L's. So Paul, what he had to do is he had to start moving pieces. And what he did is, well, one, he lost Holden Katoni, which is, in my eyes, a big loss in your offense, but there's enough pieces there to make up for that. And he got Shane Simpson for him, so you have a bona fide star in transition. He also traded his first-round pick to Toronto and got Chris Corbeil and Mitch Desnew. Now, what do these guys bring? Well, Mitch Desnew was Defensive Player of the Year a couple of years back. Chris Corbeil is a long-storied bona fide star, defensive guy, transition guy. Both are the transition stars in the league and have been great over the years. Corbeil with Edmonton, Saskatchewan, and Toronto. Mitch Desnew with Buffalo, and then for the last 4 years in Toronto, scoring many goals in transition. What you also have is a lot more toughness. Desnew is a tough, hard-nosed player. Sometimes takes a few too many penalties, but it's all in the act of doing that for the game. The Philadelphia crowd is going to love him. Right into that blue-collar thing, Dr. Desnew. Actually, an interesting thing is Mitch Desnew played his college ball at Drexel, so he's pretty familiar with the area. So that'll come in very handy. People know him out there already. But this all of a sudden gave Philadelphia a transition game that they've been lacking. They don't have to rely totally on the front guys now. Now they can upset the timing of their opponents. And if your transition game's working right, you're going to start seeing a lot of penalties going the other way for teams jumping too quickly and getting those too many men penalties. And in return, let your power play go to work and let these guys go to work. Also, with Chris Corbeil and Mitch Desnew, you got solid defenders, hard-nosed defenders. So these guys are going to make you pay if you want to come in and get inside on Damewood or on Deacon Knott, depending who's in the net. And it's not going to be as easy as a time as it's been recently to go get these shots, which is going to make more outside shooting, more non-percentage shots against Damewood. So that's going to help in the long run as well. Now, I have an affiliation with both of these guys out of Toronto. Desnew played junior with Clarington with the Gales, and of course, I am with the Gales organization. I'm out to Prague every year with them for the Rubeski tournament. And Chris Corbeil, of course, came up through the Brampton organization, and of course, I was on the board directors with them. So I've known both these for quite a while. And again, Corbeil, you want leadership. You've got it with both of these guys. Desnew has always been known as a leader in the dressing room and a leader on the floor. Corbeil was captain of Edmonton and Saskatchewan during their championship years. So there's a long lineage of really top-notch play. So I think it's just a plus thing. If there's any negative to look at, is that both Desnew and Corbeil are unrestricted free agents at the end of this year, showing that Jamie's pretty shrewd too. Dalwick, the owner and GM of Toronto, is that he can send off rent-a-players. He might still have the opportunity to sign up at the end of the year, but he took a first-round draft pick in this year's upcoming draft for it. And he did another thing like that too, sending Nick Rose to Calgary, who didn't have a great night last night, by the way.
Yeah.
Not an awful one, but not a great one. Calgary lost. But he also sent them for him and Tyler Hendricks for a first-round pick in the 2026 draft, which is the draft to behold, because that's going to be the most stacked draft in years. And he took their first-round draft pick. And, of course, Nick Rose is an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. And by all rights, he can sign back with Toronto, which makes a lot of sense since he is the manager of the Rock Athletic Center.
Yeah. So I got to ask you, Gary. I mean, I think, though, with the moves, do you think this forced Paul Day's hand of the way that they've been playing, lacrosse, for the last, 5 to 6 weeks?
Well, I think in a sense, Philadelphia is still in the playoff hunt and still in the playoff picture and wants to do something there. Whereas Toronto at 3-8 right now. And, it's strange because 5 of those losses are 1-goal losses, and really 6 because the other loss to Buffalo was an empty net goal. So you could say 6 of those losses were 1-goal losses. So the chemistry of the team healthy was okay, but it was time to pull a shoot for this year and see what you could do for the future because, well, of course, it's not going. They're not going to go 6-1 down the stretch and maybe squeak into the playoffs. So let's cut bait and try again. As for Philadelphia, an entire different situation. They haven't been in the playoffs the last couple of years. They have a good shot at it this year. The fans are dying for it. They're salivating for some playoff action, meaningful games, and he has the opportunity. And with these bumps in the road, if he didn't do something, you see it as the standings go. They're here, they're here, they're here, they're out of the playoffs. And it's just as quick. With this much parity in the league, it's only going to take a couple more losses, and they're looking outside, looking in. And he had to do something. The trade deadline isn't until the 10th of the month, but both Toronto, Philadelphia, Las Vegas, Calgary all seem the need to start shaking things up. Vegas and Toronto for different reasons than Calgary and Philadelphia. And Calgary and Philadelphia both are in the hunt and are just looking for these pieces. I don't think any of these teams.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Pat.
No. Because when I look at it though, to me, I love me. Last year, I was very critical of Paul Day and some of his coaching decisions and all that stuff. But you know what, he's answered the bell here. Like again, him just playing the role of the GM, everything he's done so far has been on point. Again, this team came out to a hot start with 5 straight wins. And then they've hit a pothole, if you will, and the tire is a little low and it's getting real flat. And before it becomes completely flat, he's found the car jack and jacked it up. And listen, he had to wake up the locker room a little bit to me. He forced his hand to, hey, listen, I'm moving on from Hogan. I know that was a locker room guy, a leader, and all that stuff. But like you said, this team hasn't sniffed the playoffs in a few years. Right before Martin Luther King weekend, they were in the second seed, and they've dropped to now, like you said, their playoff lives are on a live wire. And there's now a couple teams that are in the hunt for it, and he wants to make sure he's a shoo-in for the playoffs. And like I say, moved on from Hokutonli. He's bringing in Shane Sampson. He's bringing a couple, guys in for transition guys from Toronto. He wants to get in here. He wants to, to say, he completed one of the goals is making the playoffs. He wants to change the philosophy and atmosphere of this and of this team. So I like everything that he's done so far.
Well, he's addressed the two issues that Philadelphia's had over the last number of weeks. One is no transition game, and the other is weak defense and hard-nosed defense, kind of.
Yes.
And he got it with both Corbeil and Desnew. And with Shane Simpson, what you have there is a guy who was highly touted when he was with Calgary. He was, the guy for transition, and it made all kinds of news when he went to Vegas. Everybody wondered what was going on with Calgary. And he's continued along. So he's going to bring that on over to Philadelphia. So you have a really fast, really savvy transition game and really hard-nosed defense now that will stand up for one another. And the only thing with Corbeil is the last couple of years he's had a few injury problems, but it looks like that's been rectified. He tore a pec. He was so excited to come to Toronto, he tore a pec in training camp. So we didn't see him for most of the first year. Then this year, he wasn't in the lineup for the first couple of games, but he's been playing the last few, and each game he gets more comfortable. So you're going to get the polished version of Chris Corbeil, who is an ultimate professional, and he will be a real plus to that team in leadership. And it might help take some of the pressure off of Blaze Reardon, who has been having trouble recently, kind of not being much of the offense. Well, when you have all these other pieces in there, now teams have to be a little bit more wary about what these guys are going to do, as well as, the offense of Reardon, Reza Terrence, as it goes down, Mitch Jones, etc. And it frees up all these guys.
Yeah, it's going to wonder, this is, and again, credit to Paul Day. This is the perfect week. You're on a bye week to make some moves. This gives them plenty of time to get into the practice facilities, work on some things, build some team chemistry, because next week you have an opportunity to get revenge on the Firewolves coming in to your house, and now you can work things out and see what these guys could bring to the table, and hopefully that has woken up the offense that's been lacklustering for a couple weeks now.
And that's another thing. They're doing it at home. These guys have a chance to settle in with a home crowd, so a friendly atmosphere to get themselves moving and become fan favorites right away. And with their hard-nosed play, I'm telling you now, you Philly fans are going to love these guys. They're going to add a whole new dimension to the team, and you'll be on a Sunday night show. Just you'll be joyous again.
I'll be happy again. I'm not gonna have to put a bag over my face or
a knapsack or any other stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I want to start eating, just enjoying a banana. Like I came in beginning of the year for 4 or 5 weeks, enjoying myself on the lacrosse all the time. Now I have nothing to say. I've been powerless. Caden's been having the upper hand now. So, but yeah, look, Gary, it should be a interesting, on the way out of the season. Again, they got the Firewolves coming up here next week, 7:00 Eastern time. It should be interesting what this Philadelphia Wings do and how they respond to the new team, because I think now Mitch Jones, not just hey, listen, I think Paul Day is saying, listen, if I can move on from Hogan Tonley, who's been a locker room leader, I'll move on from the next guy and the next guy until I get the pieces that fit.
Right. See, the other thing too is your defensive coach, Pat McCready. He's a Hall of Famer, but he made his money as a transition guy. So there's anybody who can manage the transition games, this is the guy.
Yes.
Mike, you know it, Mike.
Muffler, right? You're right. You know what? You're actually. I think my wife said that a few times, that the bag over my face works better just hanging around.
We're the reason radio was invented.
You ain't the only one who's been telling me that.
Let's say we're the reason radio was invented.
Yes.
But yeah, I think
you're absolutely right, Gary.
You're going to want to get a ticket to Wells Fargo for this next game. Everybody out there, you're going to want to get a ticket. Get out there now, support the Wings. They're going to have a great second half of the year. Paul Day has proved that whatever needs to be done is going to be done. And in the next 10 days, 9 days, I don't think he's finished. I think there's still a little tinkering to go on and to solidify things around there. He proves that he's not looking far down the road. He wants to win this year. So this is going to be an exciting little stretch. The next 5 to 10 games that are left in the season, depending on where you are, is going to be crunch time. You don't want to limp into the playoffs. You want to be going there with a head of steam so that, teams win by this part of the season winning.
Buffalo Mike says also keep in mind Jones and Russell Terrence are restricted free agents at the end after the season. Plus, the CBA is up for renewal. And so I got to ask you one more, a couple more questions there. So talking about Toronto Rock, the team that you cover, Gary, so now that the Philadelphia Wings give up their first overall draft pick, are you kind of hoping that the Philadelphia Wings kind of want to lose out just so you get a higher draft pick? And if so, what are you looking towards for the Toronto Rock to build off of?
Well, the Toronto Rock have a number of draft picks coming up. For the first time and as long as I can remember, Toronto's actually got a wealth of picks, which is unique. But this time around, the first round pick for 2025 from Philadelphia, I kind of want them not to do well, but in the same regard, I want to see Paul Day, who's an old friend of mine, excel at what he's doing. And your coaching staff are all old friends of mine. Ian Rubel played for the Rock in their championship years. Pat McCready played for the Rock. Pat McCready and I have been friends for years as well. He's been on all Lacrosse, and he's also been on my NLL Talk show. So I'd love to see them all succeed. And, it's always fun when you have teams and rivalries and everybody's doing well. It makes the games interesting for all of us. But Toronto is stacked with picks right now. In 2025, they have 3 first-round picks. One is their own. One is from Vegas, who is not doing well right now either. That might be a first-round pick altogether, first overall. Toronto could be a second overall because they're not doing great either, and as well as the Philadelphia Wings pick. They have a second round and a third round pick as well, also 5th and 6th, which those are shoot for the stars and hope for the best. In 2026, in that stacked draft, they have a first round pick, 2 second round picks, and 2 third round picks as well. So they can absolutely change the face of this team with youth and with top junior youth along the way. Plus, they also are going to get Sam English, who they picked in the first round last year, who had another year of eligibility, so he's playing collegiate. So he'll be with the Toronto Rock next year. So you're looking at another first round pick there as well. So I think the future is looking bright for Toronto. And hey, morning, Dave. Glad to have you with us too. Always glad to have our followers in the evening as well in the morning. It's nice to see you all up.
Yes.
On this beautiful sunny day.
Yes, and speaking of Sunday, I got to ask you. I ask every guest I have on the show, Gary, what is your meal of the day? What are you going to be doing? I know you'll be prepping for tonight's show. What's your meal of the day?
Oh man, I'm always getting ready for that nice dinner, with the family on a Sunday evening before our show. You got to have that pregame meal.
Oh,
and, I know we're already marinating the steaks. They're all ready. They've been cut to size. So, get them all set, ready. And then, we'll have our pregame meal and we'll have all the protein to be hot and heavy for we got a lot of things to discuss tonight. There's a lot of things going on in the league. There's a lot of things going on with the Rock, with the Wings, with the teams coming up, the trade deadlines coming on. Things are moving forward. Buffalo and Saskatchewan, number 1 and number 2 played last night. And that was
yes,
it lived up to its billing. It was a slobber knocker. And, I look forward to seeing that in a playoff round too, because that's going to be crazy. But the way it works now with Buffalo winning that one, they would have the edge and it would be in Bandit land. So that would be another crazy situation with 19,000 screaming Bandit fans in there and the floor rumbling underneath your feet. So that, if the way things work out, that could be your final this year. So even more crazy. So, but I say it all the time. Who wins in all this? Us, the fans.
Yes.
Because we get to see the greatest players in the world week in and week out playing the greatest game, and we get to see it played the way it's supposed to be played. So parity, oh man, you throw a coin sometimes for these things. By the way, I went 5-0 in the pickups.
Did you?
I did.
You went 5-0?
5-0, sir. You went 4-1.
Well, that's not bad.
Not bad at all.
Where that snot-nosed punk Caden wind up? In the basement, I hope.
Yeah, well, he's now 500 over there. I think he went 2-3 in this weekend.
Oh, all right. Well,
But, I leapfrogged him. So
nice. So, well, listen, Gary, I appreciate you coming on and giving me some of your time. Again, guys, whoever, to all the fans out there who's just checked into the Pep and R show, please stick around. Again, enjoy your day. There's no Philly sports going on today. If you have any questions about the Philadelphia Wings or lacrosse in general, if you're an NLL fan, please stay tuned and check out all lacrosse all the time right here on Stream Punk Entertainment Sports. Guys, for me, Pep and Art, for Gary Groob, we're out of here. And guys, enjoy the rest of your day. See you, everyone. Thank you, Gary.
My pleasure, Pat.
See you, buddy. Well, guys, thank you so much. And yes, I am going to check out here after that great interview with my man Gary. Guys, like I said, he's got me locked into the reason why I start covering the game and got involved in lacrosse is because of lacrosse all the time, because I got to listen to these guys talk lacrosse and I wanted to check out the game myself. And man, if you like hockey, basketball, and football all rolled into one, you need to go check out the Wings right here in Philadelphia next week. We'll see if they can turn their season around. But guys, for Pep and Art, I'm out of here, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye, everybody.